You are the conversation.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, so, Greg is an Emmy Award winning hairstylist and nominated a time or two. Correct me if I'm right or wrong.
Can you repeat that last part?
Emmy Award winning hairstylist and wig maker. Okay.
Yes.
Mostly film, Broadway. What else do you do?
Film, film and TV, all three genres.
Okay. All right. So how did
Yeah.
you get started?
Oh, I started in theater first. Ooh, about 25 years ago.
Okay, okay. That
Yeah.
makes you seasoned.
Yeah.
Uh, so was doing hair always something, or the beauty industry always something that you
Actually,
aspired?
no, it was a hobby for me.
Huh.
This all started as a hobby for me. I was a graphics major before I got into hair, and it was a crazy story. I had a full scholarship for graphics,
Hmm.
and I was, what, 16, 17, and
That you were
full
16,
ride.
17 going to college?
Huh?
You were 16, 17 going to college?
Well, I had already already had done like a 2-year program in graphics, so I was able to go to a 4 year university and finish in a year.
Oh wow.
And I wanted to be, young, out, enjoying being a young person, enjoying just being outside, and I lost my scholarship. And so then my mom was like, "You got to do something." So I was like, "Well, I guess I'll go do hair until I can get the money back up to go back to school." So I went to hair school,
Hmm.
and it was just to be a hobby, just to pay my way through, to pay my
Pay your
tuition to go
tuition.
back to right. And it ended up turning into a career. So it's been since I was it's been over 30 years, 32 years now doing hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Interesting twist, but I guess the creativity was there always. So
yeah,
it
that's what
kind
everybody said. It was like, how did you go from, doing that to doing this now? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
interesting. Yeah, but we all have, it's interesting how most of us have some type of story that took us
mhm.
in a
Yep.
detour.
Yep.
Yeah, and
So,
then,
yep. Because before that, I was into commercial architecture. So a lot
mm,
of I was always able to use those design elements to create.
okay.
So yeah, so I started once I started doing hair, then I was asked to do like platform for Kazuri and working in New York with Gerard Duray back then. So we did a lot of
Oh, you froze.
started out doing like hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, 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 I think.
Okay, yeah. So I started out doing like fantasy hair, short haircuts back in the 90s, the early 90s. So, that was just the thing that we did. And um from there it just grew and grew. And so it just got to I was able to learn how to implement the creative side with my architectural background. And so that's when I learned how to do construction or understand how to break down silhouettes and reconstruct to help give a good understanding of that.
Wow. So to transition to that, and I guess you're right. It's a building process. So you need
Yeah,
a
yeah,
foundation, you need the structure, and then
right.
you
To
build
build it
it.
all. Yeah. So that's part of like what I'm teaching this year at the National Beauty Cultures League. Yeah. So that's where that concept came from. It's like because it was like, when I was in college, I took my mentor was a professor at Howard. He taught costumes and makeup. So he would make me take his college courses at the same time while designing productions for him. And I was doing clients all at the same time. But he said, you have to do all of the things and understand time.
Okay.
So it was a good lesson because, with theater or in the production at all, you don't, time is not your friend. So everything is time is money. So if they say this is done at this time, it's about being there on time. You can't be 5 minutes late, because there's always someone ready to take your place.
Okay.
Always somebody waiting to take your place. So that was just all a learning experience within itself.
Hmm.
And after that, so that's when I was like, I wanted to be able to teach I felt like some of the things that I've learned in my journey could
Hmm.
help open the light for a lot of stylists that have been doing it for years and kind of unlock that flame that they still have inside that they want to bring back out and look at the world of hair, makeup, whatever it is creative, just to look at it through a different set of lenses.
Okay. So you're doing theater and working in the salon full time as
Oh
well.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
And where are you based? Are
In
you in?
DC. But I have a studio space in DC, and right now I'm working on Broadway in New York and working on TV in New York as well.
Okay, busy man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of traveling,
Yeah.
lots of travel.
Okay. So you mentioned NBCL. Can you tell us a little bit
Yes.
about that program?
NBCL is the organization has been around. This is their 107th year um, that they've been around, and they have started out with it's about Beauty Cultures League, National Beauty Cultures League. That's what it stands for, National Beauty Cultures League,
Mhm.
and they're based in what their home base is Washington D.C. But they have institute where you can get higher education for
Okay. You're buffering. Kind of froze on us. I guess you did freeze on us. I'm gonna give it a second and see if we can get him. Uh-oh, I lost him. Ah, and let's see if we can get him back. Ah, Greg, you may have to go out and come back in. Let's try it one more time. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Thank you. Okay, there we go. All right. So I left off with National Beauty Cultures League. Yeah. So we were this is their 107th, and we're having a conference in Metairie, Louisiana this year.
Okay, which is just
And
in New
um,
Orleans. Yeah.
yes, that's what we're doing in New Orleans. Yes. Hmm. And so I'll be there this year, and that's what we're doing. We're doing it. I'm the chairperson for the Designers Guild, so we're going to have a day party, which is going to be on that Sunday, just to kind of like I designed the day party so that way we have people that are not familiar with the organization or just stylists that want to have a network of other stylists and beauty professionals to get together and just fellowship.
Okay.
And we have a speaker. Last year we had someone that did costume design, a person that talked on makeup that's in the
Mhm.
industry. We had I spoke about just being in the union and as far as doing production hair. And then, we just had some little treats and we had people from schools and professionals to kind of network together. So that way, I feel like it's always good to forge the gap between new
Mhm.
stylists coming in
Definitely.
because a lot of them don't get that same school's not like it used to be. I'm gonna say that. So it's a lot of things they don't get in school. At least if they had someone that they could link up with that's been in the industry for years, because it's someone for everybody that can work with everyone. There's, they can be an assistant or just come and shadow someone's work. But I
Hmm.
feel like stylists that have been in the school, in the salon for so long, some of them have lost touch with what's happening, what's new. So this is a way for them to, as well, get connected and see what's happening.
Okay.
Because a lot of times I hear people say, oh, I've been doing this for 30 years, but it's like, okay, some of those methods have, improved on, and there's new techniques and things out there to see and learn. So I just feel like it's always good to bridge the gap between
Me too. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the two.
Yeah. So we haven't, what's the dates for NBCO?
The 18th through the 22nd.
Okay. All right. And we'll give you
That's yeah.
information in a bit for anyone who's interested. So it's actually, you're doing a class there, right? And then the networking, a
Yeah, the
class.
class is gonna. Yeah, we're having and actually we're doing the designer field. We're doing on Monday night. We're having our designers guild um hair competition this year. Last year we did a fashion show. This year we're going to do a competition. So we're having stylists, professional and non-professionals, like so unlicensed and licensed. We're not putting them all together. We have a non-licensed student competition we're going to have where we have compete your best look. We were going to do fantasy, but we decided to do total look because we know everyone is
Can
not
it,
fantasy. So we said we'll let them showcase their best work, and then we're going to have the professionals compete as well because it's been, and everybody was asking like, well, can we just do a fashion show? I mean, a hair show, because we haven't done it since COVID. Those types of things haven't been done a lot since COVID. So we're like, okay, we'll just do one, oh, hurrah for good old times. Let's do a hair show. And then we're going to have the guild members, people that are already guild members, are going to present as well. So
okay.
I'll be presenting a fantasy piece. We have some other members that are going to present fantasy as well. We have some that are going to just present their best work. So that way we'll have the three
Elements. Okay.
here and prize question. The winner get
For,
team
for,
card, and they're going to get to going to we get it for the class. It's a 2-day class for the fantasy workshop.
okay.
So the professional will get that ticket and the student will get that ticket. A lot of people are feeling like the class may be a little bit over some people's head, but my thing is, if you don't make things hard or challenging, then that means you haven't learned
Growth.
anything.
Yeah, you gotta grow, so you gotta push yourself a little bit over the, over
Right?
what
You
the
have to
customers
push
do
yourself.
in
Yeah.
order to expand. Yeah. So it's a
Hmm.
hands-on, or is it
Sorry.
really? Is it hands-on, interactive, demo? What is that?
It will. It's theory based, so it's understanding elements of design, principles of composition, and then you have to understand how to break down the style, articulate what it is, and be able to do a narrative of what it is you're creating. So
Oh wow.
it has to have a meaning behind what you're doing, and be able to tell a story through your design.
Okay. Okay.
So um, at the end, I will like it's going to be hands on. I'm going to do a demo, but I want the students to, if they come prepared and
Mm-hmm.
have all of their prerequisite work done, then we will be able to get in to do the hands-on in the second. We'll start on the first day, and then in the second day, I want them to be able to have time to finish and
Okay.
present on
Okay.
that Wednesday.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
Cool. So, like I said,
Yeah.
we'll get information, and you guys can either DM me or Greg's going to give
Yeah.
his number in a bit, so you guys can
Right.
get in touch with him and show up. Look, it's New Orleans, but the NBCL has a great guild
Hmm.
educational piece to what they do. Uh,
Hmm.
in addition to them, I'm Houston. For you guys who are familiar with Citywide Beauticians and Barbers Association here in
Hmm.
Houston, we were originally a part of the NBCL, and through time and transitions, we ended up independent.
Okay.
Of it's Texas. We deflected.
Okay.
Okay. We don't do that group thing too well.
Okay.
So anyway,
Yeah.
We'll talk about that as well because I'm planning to be there in New Orleans to come and hang
Okay.
with you guys for a bit. So
Okay,
that's
great, great. So
NBCL.
maybe you can come. Maybe you can come to the day party, and or if you have some students coming, they can, or some stylists, they can come and maybe want to end of the show. You just never know.
All right, look, we're gonna put it back out there. We put it out once. I'll put it out again and see who wants to
Okay.
come and hang out with us because it's all in good fun and like you said, it's a
Right.
great way.
It's all in good fun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And these
It's
stylists come
really
from
it's really
the
about the fun and seeing what other people are doing,
Mhm.
and just to challenge your creativity. Because
Yeah.
now I notice everybody's assimilating. No one has their own original,
Mm.
concepts or ideas. Everybody's, you know, they see something on Instagram and they just want to copy. Nobody can come up with an original concept or a design. So that's
Yeah.
what it's like. This way, it'll help, kind of really build the creativity that people have locked inside and they just don't know how to tap into it.
And especially there seems to be a lot of people who are going into the film, television, and that industry are wanting to kind of pivot into that. So I think it's
Yeah.
a great idea for them
Hmm.
to and learn from someone who's literally in there now doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it,
And I
it,
should, yeah, because I wrote I wrote it like an ebook on that, like just different tips and things on how to actually, to think like how to time management, how
mm,
to set up a set, the different calls that you may hear when you're on set etiquette, those types of things, and understanding how you have to work with the actor, a director, when you have three different people in your ear saying this is what the look they want to go with, but ultimately you still have to work with the actor and what their hair would do if they want to wear a wig and not wear a wig, and it's just so many elements to it because I worked on productions where they didn't want wigs at all. You had to use the person's natural hair. So, in order to say that, um, to to use someone's natural hair every night to style it, you have to make people understand what that consists of. And when you start talking them in dollars and cents, because you have to have the creative side, but then at the same time, you have to have the business side. So they say when it's show business, it's really 85% business, 15% show.
wow. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, okay, we're gonna have to get you. Look, we gonna come down to New Orleans, but we're gonna have to bring you
Hmm.
here to Houston as well. Uh,
Okay.
so, so we've talked about that on the salon side of what you do, because I was
Mhm.
thumbing through your website and places. I, so I was doing my research. So the
Okay.
scalp pigmentation, scalp
Okay. Yeah.
pigmentation.
Well, I have a few licenses under my belt. So
Okay,
I'm a licensed barber, a licensed cosmetologist, and a licensed permanent cosmetic artist.
okay. Let's go into the
Yeah. So I
permanent
did
cosmetic side.
the permanent cosmetic side was something that I was like, when I heard about it, when a friend of mine was going bald and he was telling me something, I was like, is that? Like, what are you talking about? And then so I dug deep, dug deep, and dug deep into it. So it's like it's almost like a tattoo. Basically, it's basically like a tattoo, but
Hmm.
you using like micro needling to create hair follicles on a person's scalp
Okay.
to
So
make
similar
to
to
give the illusion of fullness, almost
similar.
like microblading, right?
Okay.
But microblading, you have it's like a five blade that it strikes you strike the skin, but you can do it manually or you can do it with an electric tool that does it as well.
Okay.
So it's a couple different ways you can do it just depending on your training. But
Mm,
but doing the micro blading is you can do it manually or with a machine. But it's all in understanding the stroke and the angle. So that's where it comes in because if you have the blade at an angle, you can have what do you call bleeding under the skin. When I say bleeding, not bleeding as far as blood, but bleeding as far as um the dye, like not being a crystalline, it
mm,
would like
okay.
fade.
Okay.
It
Okay.
fades out. Yeah. So it's one you want when you get your microblade, you make sure your artist is somebody that's like can be really precise with your strokes, but
Mhm.
then you can do another technique where you use a round blade, a round needling, like a 5 or a 9 needle, and you do like you can do what is called shadowing, where you shadow over top of the microblading, so it look like you have permanent shadow over top of the hair follicle, so it look like little hairs, and then you shadow it in so that way you don't have to even put in shadow to fill it in.
Oh wow. Okay, and you teach that class as well?
No, I don't teach that class. I can teach it, but I don't teach that class. No.
No. Okay. Look, just checking because I'm like, look, that sounds like. So how much for doing that? How much? What's the average cost?
Um. Well, from if you're doing it from scratch, it's usually about $600 for your
Okay.
initial visit, and
Hmm.
then like touch ups, like you can do every 6 to 12 months. You just do a light touch up, and you could charge anywhere from $200 to $300 for a touch up,
Okay.
because you don't have to go in and do all of the,
That's much.
and your shape is already there.
Okay. Um, and how long does it take? And is this like the
Well,
crown
if
area?
with the scalp, no, with the microblading, that's about six
Okay.
hundred dollars. You talk about the micropigmentation, that's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit different. So that can
Okay.
run you about 30,
It's something.
3,500. No, that can run about 3,500 for
Okay.
that. And
Yeah.
then depending on if the person has scar tissue or not, then it's harder to just like with anything, if you keloid or anything, it's harder to get the pigment to take over scar tissue.
Mm. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Look. Yeah. Well, look. We gonna dig a little deeper into that one because
Okay.
and my thought is that people are now. I think a lot of people are looking for what's that niche, what's that next
Yeah, yeah.
thing.
So it's the same thing when it comes into like the wig making,
Hmm.
and I do a class. I do a class on the wig making part, but it's almost like that, doing like the ventilating or um building, like taking head shapes to molds, and you have a lot of people out here doing like with dome caps and those things like that, and it's like some of those things, like especially if you have a hair loss situation, all of those things are not good for a person's scalp, because the scalp can't breathe. You can't get the proper, it's still rubbing the edges. So you see a lot of young ladies with the edges rubbing off because they're either using the wrong material, like the monofilament, like that plastic. So just rubbing their edges out because the scalp can't breathe. They're using got to be glued and this kind of paste and that kind of paste, and it's clogging the follicles, so they end up with more hair loss than what they might have started out with. Or some people don't have any hair loss, but they end up with hair loss when it's all over with.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, so what advice would you give someone who is just getting started and wants to go in the film? What would be your advice? What would you suggest that they do?
Find someone that they can shadow or mentor under, or find a local theater. Like maybe I would say find a local theater, whether it be like working with a performing arts high school, or just working with a performing arts school, or just working with a theater company that may be local in their area.
Okay. All right. So how do you think the industry has changed from when you first started, especially in the theater
Um,
aspect of it? Well,
well, oh, it's changed a lot. I mean, the hair industry has changed so much because us. Let's start with the hair industry. It's
okay.
changed a lot because I would say within that, because of the lack of knowledge some of the students are getting in schools. Um, Now that everyone wants to just wear wigs, they don't want to get their own natural hair done. We went through this phase of people wanting to go natural because they said the relaxers were making their hair fall out. Well, I always say I beg to differ with that, and I
Okay.
always have
What's your
challenges with people that do natural hair, because I have clients still to this day that get relaxers still, that um, haven't had any hair loss, that still have their full hairline. So I said that all comes from user error.
Okay.
Like, Chris Rock did that thing, where they said what, no hair or something, whatever they had that. And I said that all of that comes from someone not being trained properly with just clients. I remember a day when you couldn't go and buy professional products in a beauty supply store, like relaxers and things. You just could not. It was a thing where it was held in a really high regard as far as the beauty industry. You couldn't, a novice couldn't go in unless you had a license to buy certain products. So you had people that knew how to do, professionals that know, it's a certain timing, it's a certain, scalp analyzation. Those things are not happening nowadays. Like people are not even shampooing hair. That's the first thing in your cosmetology.
Yeah.
So let's not harp on that. But I digress. So that's the biggest thing as far as like hair I see like in the salon. Um, the TV industry has changed since I've been in it since COVID.
Mm,
And after COVID, we had this, that big strike that we had. Like it's been about 2 years ago now. That went on for about 7 months. The writer's strike is about AI being used for the likeness. And the first time I worked on I remember working for Microsoft. We did Microsoft developed this software, a chip that gave the computers this superpower to generate those, like when you saw Gladiator 3000 and those, when they had like thousands of people, like might have 100 people, and the computer was able to generate thousands from that 100 people at all at one time. So just like when they generated simulations of airplanes and all. So it's like, and that was like 10 years ago. So the technology was out, but it's
mm,
so now have progressed. And so I worked on Wonder Woman, the 1985 film, and we would take people, like 30 people at a time, and change their hair and makeup and wardrobe, and we would put them in this booth, and it would circle around them. The camera would circle around them and copy their likeness. So that way, the computer was able to generate and make them move on set. And so, so these are some of the things that I would say
wow.
has changed the industry since that, and that's why the strike was such a big deal. But there were loopholes in it, even though they signed a deal. There were loopholes in it, so now that's why you see these movies coming out now with actors that have passed away, and they have full movies, feature films with them in it, because there were loopholes in it and
Wow.
and the contract. So a lot of um, hiring for um, stylists and actors now is becoming more of a minimum because they have this technology.